You can't look at the competition and say you're going to do better. You have to look at the competition and say you're going to do it differently. Unknown. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Today, we're going to talk a little more about some other marketing terms that are essential for analyzing your business internally as well as externally. Again, I will recommend that you have paper today as well. If you missed last week's episode 186, please do go back and listen to that because we discussed determining your target market, their demographic, and their psychographic. And truly, if you don't have your target market determined, then you really don't have a business because you won't know how to market to those people. So again, go check out episode 186 if you missed that last week because it's vital for you to be able to effectively and efficiently market your business. You have to know your target market. Again, today we are doing an analysis, and this analysis will allow us to look internally as well as externally at your business. In the marketing world, is known as a SWOT analysis, and it was truly one of my favorite things when I was in undergrad as well as grad school. And SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We were taught to create a 2x2 box to display this information when I was in school, and I want you to do the same. You can just simply draw this out, draw you a nice vertical line, horizontal line going across the vertical line, and then you can put a box around the whole thing. You want to be able to assess your business by asking some questions, and I'm going to go over that with you today because it's very revealing when you actually ask these questions. So let's jump into it, and I will talk to you through it from the lens of my current store as well, so I'm able to give you examples of completing this exercise. And the first thing we're going to talk about is your company's strengths. I want you to ask yourself these questions and write down the answers in the box to the top left-hand side. What are your company's strengths? What do you excel in or do very well? Do you have a proprietary software or method for doing something? Do you hold a specific patent? And if you do, that's a really great strength. Are you the only provider of something in a specific market? Now, for our store, Zeus Closet, I would say some of our strengths are the fact that we offer same-day service. We will also do just one of something. Many embroidery companies prefer to do a minimum of 6. Some of them are even higher, a minimum of 24. But we'll do just one of something. Another strength of ours is we can deliver very detailed embroidery pieces. We like doing the large, elaborate artwork. Many companies want to do the very simple logos or a simple monogram, a simple business left chest logo, and that's a lot of times why they go for quantity over quality. Well, the quality is still there, but they are looking to do volume, and we uniquely like to do one-offs and things that are unique, but we'll do the volume stuff as well. Another strength of ours is we allow people to bring in their own products for us to embroider. A lot of companies want to sell you their product. That gives them a markup there, and then they don't want you to bring in your own product. And another strength that we have right now is that we're in a very nice up-and-coming area in Atlanta. Now, once you have answered these questions for your business, we're going to move on to weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? These are areas that you can improve in. So what can you do better? What are the things that are holding you back? Those are the questions you want to ask yourself when it comes to your weaknesses. For us at Zeus Closet, I feel like our biggest weakness is our production team because we have an awesome production team. However, we could use more of those types of people with those critical thinking skills and people who are really interested in doing the elaborate artwork that takes a different level of expertise than the one quick monogram or a quick business logo. So that to me is a weakness of ours. And then ultimately that weakness leads to another weakness in that it affects our production time. Embroidery is already not a fast process when it comes to doing elaborate artwork. It can take hours on a machine with certain things. And so us not having those people, the key people, reduces or makes our production time longer. And I would love to reduce our production time by like 30%. That would be amazing. Once you've determined your strengths, your weaknesses. Oh, and by the way, the weaknesses you would write in the upper right-hand box. But once you determine your strengths and your weaknesses, you then need to ask yourself a few more questions. And those are, how can you play up your strengths? How can you really market those strengths? And how can you get rid of the weaknesses? So as you can see here, you're looking internally. You're looking at what your strengths are within your four walls. What are your weaknesses within your four walls? And then we're going to pop down to the bottom of our 2x2 box, and we're going to start in the bottom left side. And we're going to talk about what are your opportunities. Opportunities are those favorable external factors that can help you grow. Those are the questions you want to ask. What's favorable out there in the market that will help your business? For us, again, our store is located in an up-and-coming area in Atlanta, which means there are new businesses going in, there are new houses, and new apartments. And when I tell you there are new apartments, there are tons of apartments going up, which is somewhat disappointing. As an aside, somewhat disappointing because I would love for more people to have their own home and not rent. But, we all have to start somewhere, and we have lots of apartments going up. Well, there are people in those apartments, or they're going to be, and perhaps they need embroidered towels or an embroidered shower curtain or an embroidered gift for someone. So that's an opportunity for us. Another opportunity for us is Ethan and I have been in this industry for over 20 years, which is crazy because, I only feel like I'm 25. But we've been in this industry a long time. So we have an opportunity to actually teach other people, to maybe offer classes for people to do this as well. And then another opportunity that we have is that we are really growing or wanting to grow in the business sector. And because we have so many businesses going in, that's an opportunity for us to market to those businesses and perhaps create swag stores for them or simply help them with promotional products. Just a lot of opportunity there. So you want to look and see what are the opportunities that are external to your four walls. And then lastly, you want to ask yourself, what are the threats around your business? And we all have some, but those are the things that impact your company in a negative way or could harm your organization. It could be a competitor, or it could be a change in federal or local mandates, tariffs, laws, taxes, a variety of things. For example, COVID was a threat that none of us saw coming, but a pandemic or health crisis is something that could be an external threat to your business. A few years ago, we had a store that was selling Greek items open just a few miles from us. And that was honestly a threat to our business. Now, they closed a couple of years later, but at the time, we were concerned. We were like, okay, what is it that we can do differently in our business to make us stand out? Now, we were blessed to have already moved into the business area. We helped with things on movies and TVs and things like that. So it wasn't a huge competitive worry for us, but at the same time, we knew that they would probably take away some of our market share in the Greek space. So knowing your competition, what's going on around you. Another threat for us currently, and this is been this way for years, but with the Greek organizations, you have to get licensed with them to actually produce items with their letters on it. Well, if they decide they want to change their pricing, which they often do, and everyone is always going up on prices, no one really goes down. So that impacts our business. And if they decide not to have membership 1 year or for a couple of years, that impacts our business. That is a threat to reducing our revenues. So things like that can truly impact your business, and it's external to you. But you need to think about those things. What is it that's outside your four walls that threatens your business? If you're in a specific industry specific threats can be a thing as well. So make sure you take a look at those. Once you have these two boxes completed, your opportunities and your threats, you want to determine how to take advantage of your opportunities and mitigate your threats. I also want to tell you, if you don't want to draw this out, you can email me and I can actually send you a copy of my SWOT analysis that I use that you can fill in. So you can always email me at monica@monicaallen.com to get a copy of that. Now, I want to quickly go back to the quote at the top of this episode, which read, "You can't look at the competition and say you're going to do it better. You have to look at the competition and say you're going to do it differently." I want to dive a little bit more into that because we all have competition. If you're starting a business and it may be somewhat new, if you are successful, eventually you will have competition. Competition is a thing. And there's two different types of competition. There's direct competition and there's indirect competition. Direct competition is someone who is competing for the same customer, the exact same customer you're competing for. You're in the same industry. You are pretty much doing the same thing. That's a direct competitor. If you are dealing with an indirect competitor, I like to think of indirect competitors as someone who you're competing for the same customer, but you may be doing something different. The easiest analysis of this for me is restaurants, because all restaurants are competing for the hungry customer, or the customer who's ready to eat something. But you may be an Italian restaurant, or there's a Moroccan restaurant, or there's just the American cafe or deli. You're competing for the same customer, but you're competing with different types of food, different types of experiences. It may be fast food versus sit down versus casual dining versus fine dining with the white tablecloths. And so you have these different sectors of indirect competition, because I may drive down the street and if I'm looking for fast food, I'm going to pick one of the fast food places. But if I'm looking for fine dining, I may pick a restaurant that a friend told me about, or it's a restaurant that's really hype right now. So there's direct competition and there's indirect competition. You need to honestly analyze both indirect and direct competition. Now, when it comes to competition, you don't want to dwell on that too much. You want to be aware of your competitors, but you also want to determine your differentiating factor within your industry or within your business. Another marketing buzzword. But what does this mean? It's what makes you different from your competitor. When we initially started Stuff for Greeks, one of our differentiating factors was the fact that we did a full color proof for every single custom item that we completed, that we would email to the customer and they had to approve. This was very, very new 20 years ago. I am certain everyone does this now who is in our industry, but before it was not a thing. I remember we ordered a jacket from a competitor. They didn't do a proof, and sure enough, we got it. It had the wrong number on it. It had some other information that was incorrect. So that was kind of our differentiating factor at the time. Now, when it comes to Zeus's Closet, many of the strengths that I talked about earlier are our differentiating factors as well. And so we have to determine how to play those up, how to make sure our customer knows that that is what makes us different. I mentioned earlier not to obsess over your competition. That is a distraction. You do want to know that they're there. You want to be aware. You want to see what they're doing, but you don't want to obsess over them. You want to obsess over your customer, giving them the best experience, helping them know what differentiates you from your competition, and what ultimately makes them the hero in the story. What ultimately makes them look really good in what you're doing, that they feel really proud that they shopped with you. And that is the case in whatever industry you're in. You want your customer to feel really good about making the decision to choose you over someone else that they could have gone to. So those are our marketing terms for today. I'm going to stop there because I truly want you to take time to go through your SWOT analysis and determine what differentiates you from your competition that may be up in that SWOT. And so looking at that and then figuring out how can you market that? How do you play that up to your customer or potential client? I was recently listening to a podcast just a few days ago, and on this podcast, they were interviewing the CEO of Pie Pies. And Pie Pies restaurant went through a very deep, dark downturn some years ago. And this CEO really helped to bring them out, help the company grow. And one of the things she talked about was that when she came into the CEO role, that her executive team were working on over 120 projects. And none of those projects necessarily addressed the issues with Pie Pies. And they dwindled them down to 7 huge issues that they had to work on. And everyone was directed to be on one of those 7 projects. So this is the thing. They may not have done a SWOT analysis, but they did determine what their strengths were, what their weaknesses were, where they needed to improve, what were their opportunities, what were their threats. They may not have used those words, but they determined the 7 things that they needed to work on in their business, and that's what they focused on in order to grow their business. The 7, 8 things that you need to focus on in your business, I promise you are in your SWOT analysis. To start your business, to grow your business, to sustain your business, that is where they lie. And that is why this is not just for the beginning business owner. This is also for those of us who have been established for some time. I just walked through my business. I walked through the SWOT. And so where am I focused right now? I am focused on those opportunities, but I'm also focused on eliminating the weaknesses, because the weaknesses, if I can get rid of those, it will help strengthen my business overall, help us have and grow those opportunities, and I can reduce the threats. It all works hand in hand. So take some time to do this. I know we get very excited about working in our businesses, growing our businesses, but we have to also take a pause and analyze where we are so we can then determine where we need to go. Where are you now in this area, and where do you need to go make changes and all of those good things? I'm going to leave it there today. Thanks for joining me. As always, I'm grateful for you. Do take a moment to rate, subscribe, and share the podcast. Please share it with anyone that you think is in the entrepreneurial space, someone who wants to be in the entrepreneurial space, someone who's thinking about it. Please share this podcast. And don't forget to take a moment to join the Become Your Own Boss Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. And you can always, again, email me if you have any questions or thoughts. If you need some help with working through the SWOT analysis for your business, I'd love to chat with you. I truly enjoy doing these things. They are so much fun. Remember, now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.